right, buckle up, because today we're tackling something that's been melting brains and patience all across the country. Brutal, sweaty, soul-crushing heat. In the next few minutes, you're going to learn the smartest ways to actually cool your body down when the thermometer looks like it's trying to set a world record. We're talking science-backed tricks, some surprisingly weird hacks, a few common mistakes almost everyone makes, and one method at the end that sounds ridiculous but genuinely works. So grab a cold drink, sit somewhere with decent airflow, and let's get into it. Let's start with the obvious enemy, the sun. When it's blazing outside, your body is working overtime just to keep your internal temperature stable. Normally your body sits around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, and it really does not like straying far from that number. When the air around you gets hotter than your skin, your body can't dump heat into the environment the normal way anymore. Instead, it leans almost entirely on sweat. That's why on a scorching day you feel like you're melting even standing still. Your body is basically running its own personal air conditioning system, and sweat is the coolant. So tip number 1, and this one seems simple but people get it wrong constantly: hydrate before you're thirsty. By the time you actually feel thirsty, your body is already behind on fluids. Water helps you sweat efficiently, and sweat is what actually cools you down as it evaporates off your skin. A useful trick is to add a pinch of salt or an electrolyte packet to your water, especially if you've been sweating a lot. Since you're losing more than just water, you're losing sodium and potassium too. Skip the ice-cold sports drinks loaded with sugar though, because processing that sugar actually makes your body generate a bit more heat while digesting it. Speaking of drinks, here's something that surprises a lot of people. Chugging a freezing cold beverage might feel amazing for about 10 seconds, but it can actually work against you. Extremely cold drinks can cause your blood vessels to constrict, which slightly reduces the amount of heat your body can release near the surface of your skin. Room temperature or slightly cool water is often more effective for long-term cooling, even if it doesn't feel as satisfying in the moment. Think of it as choosing the boring option that actually gets the job done, instead of the exciting option that just gives you a nice temporary jolt. Now let's talk about clothing, because what you wear in extreme heat matters way more than people think. Light colors reflect sunlight, while dark colors absorb it and trap heat close to your body. Loose, breathable fabrics like cotton or linen allow air to actually circulate around your skin, which helps sweat evaporate properly. Tight synthetic fabrics, on the other hand, can trap moisture and heat right against you, turning your outfit into a personal sauna. If you've ever wondered why people in historically hot climates traditionally wore loose, flowing, light-colored clothing, well, now you know. It wasn't a fashion statement. It was survival wisdom passed down for generations. Here's a trick that professional athletes and endurance racers use: cooling your pulse points. Your wrists, neck, temples, and the insides of your elbows have blood vessels running close to the skin's surface. Running cool water over these spots, or holding an ice pack there for a minute, cools the blood flowing through them, which then circulates that cooler blood throughout your entire body. It's a shortcut to feeling cooler fast without needing to dunk yourself in a bathtub. Speaking of which, let's address the classic cold shower debate. A lot of people assume a freezing shower is the ultimate heat fix, but there's actually a smarter approach. A lukewarm shower is often more effective for long-term comfort. Here's why. An ice-cold shower shocks your system and causes your blood vessels to constrict, and your body might actually respond by generating more internal heat to compensate once you step out. A lukewarm shower cools your skin gradually without triggering that defensive reaction, leaving you feeling comfortable for longer after you towel off. Now let's talk about your environment, because sometimes the fix isn't about your body at all, it's about the space around you. If you don't have air conditioning or your AC is struggling to keep up, there are still ways to make a room feel noticeably cooler. Close your blinds or curtains during the hottest part of the day, especially on windows facing the sun. This alone can drop the indoor temperature significantly, because direct sunlight through glass acts like a greenhouse, trapping heat inside. Open windows strategically in the early morning and late evening, when outside air is cooler than inside air, then seal everything up once the sun starts blazing again. Fans are also often misunderstood. A fan doesn't actually cool the air, It just moves it around, which helps sweat evaporate faster off your skin. If you place a shallow bowl of ice or a frozen water bottle in front of a fan, the air blowing past it picks up some of that coolness, giving you a makeshift air conditioner for a fraction of the cost. It's not going to compete with an actual AC unit, but on a budget or during a power outage, it makes a real difference. Let's also bust a myth here. Standing directly in front of an open refrigerator might feel amazing for 30 seconds, but it barely helps your actual body temperature, and it definitely doesn't help your electricity bill or your fridge's lifespan. Save that one for pure comedic relief and not as an actual cooling strategy. Now here's something people rarely think about. Your diet during a heat wave actually matters. Heavy meals, especially ones loaded with protein and fat, require more energy and generate more internal body heat to digest. On brutally hot days, lighter meals like salads, fruits, and cold soups put less strain on your digestive system, which means your body isn't fighting a battle on two fronts. Watermelon, cucumbers, and citrus fruits are packed with water content and can genuinely help keep you hydrated while giving you something satisfying to eat. Let's talk about timing, because when you do things matters just as much as what you do. If you need to exercise, run errands, or do anything physically demanding, doing it during early morning or late evening hours can make an enormous difference. The period between roughly noon and 4 in the afternoon is typically when temperatures peak, and pushing your body during that window is basically fighting the heat on its hardest difficulty setting. Shifting your schedule even by a couple of hours can mean the difference between a pleasant walk and borderline heat exhaustion. Speaking of heat exhaustion, it's worth knowing the warning signs, because sometimes what feels like just being really hot is actually your body sending a distress signal. Heavy sweating, dizziness, headache, nausea, and muscle cramps can all be early indicators. If you or someone around you starts showing these symptoms, moving to a cooler location, sipping water, and resting immediately are essential first steps. If symptoms escalate to confusion, a rapid pulse, or a complete stop in sweating despite intense heat, that could indicate heat stroke, which is a genuine medical emergency requiring immediate professional help. Staying cool isn't just about comfort, it's genuinely about safety. Now let's get into a few slightly unusual but surprisingly effective tricks. Keeping your bedsheets in the freezer for a few minutes before bedtime can help you fall asleep faster on unbearably hot nights. Just toss them in a plastic bag, freeze for about 10 minutes, then make your bed right before you get in. It won't stay cold all night, but it makes falling asleep dramatically easier, and honestly, sometimes that's the whole battle. Another trick, a damp cloth or bandana around your neck. As the water evaporates, it pulls heat away from your skin, giving you a portable cooling effect wherever you go. Outdoor workers and hikers have used this trick for ages, and it costs basically nothing. Let's also talk about houseplants for a second, because this one is often overlooked. Certain indoor plants can genuinely help regulate humidity and even slightly cool indoor spaces through a natural process called transpiration, where plants release moisture into the air. It's not going to replace air conditioning by any means, but combined with other strategies, every bit of extra cooling helps. Now here's the method I promised you at the beginning, the one that sounds a little ridiculous but genuinely works: peppermint. Specifically, peppermint essential oil, or even just chewing mint gum. Peppermint contains menthol, which triggers cold-sensing receptors in your skin and mouth, tricking your brain into perceiving a cooling sensation even though your actual body temperature hasn't changed. Some people mix a few drops of peppermint oil into a spray bottle with water and mist themselves on hot days for an instant refreshing feeling. It's not a substitute for real hydration or shade, but as a psychological and sensory trick, it's remarkably effective, and it genuinely surprises people the first time they try it. Let's recap everything quickly, because we covered a lot of ground. Hydrate consistently, not just when you feel thirsty. Choose lukewarm over ice cold for both drinks and showers. Wear light, loose, breathable clothing. Cool your pulse points for a fast, full-body effect. Eat lighter meals during extreme heat. Time your activities around the coolest parts of the day. Know the warning signs of heat exhaustion so you can act quickly if needed, and if all else fails, keep some peppermint oil nearby for that surprising instant cooling trick. Extreme heat isn't something you can completely eliminate, especially if you live somewhere that turns into an oven every summer, but with the right habits, you can absolutely make it far more manageable. Small, consistent choices, staying ahead of your hydration, dressing smart, timing your activities, and using a few clever tricks can be the difference between a miserable, exhausting day and one where you actually get through the heat comfortably. If you found these tips helpful, let me know in the comments which one you're trying first, and if you have your own personal heat survival hack, share it below because honestly, we could all use more tricks for the summers ahead. Stay cool out there, drink your water, and I'll catch you in the next video.